Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And of course, I just did a video for a movie or a review of the movie Summer School. Of course, since it's June or mid-June, as I'm doing this video, I'm going to discuss another film that has three of the most grand words, three other words, the worst words in the English language, and that's the movie Back to School. And I'm doing it early, but I figured, what the hell, 3 months early. But I figured it's appropriate to make all the kids who are possibly even watching this film to ruin the summer for you from thinking of Back to School. It is the 1986 film starring Rodney Dangerfield, Sally Kellerman, William Sabata from the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid movie, and of course, William Downey, Robert Downey Jr. is in this film. It was also written by a co-writer by the late great Harold Ramis, co-wrote this film. Like I said, it's a movie starring Rodney Dangerfield, and I feel, even though I haven't seen every single Rodney Dangerfield movie, I feel this was the best one of all of his films. And I think also this one has gotten the best write-ups in the papers at that time. And I think also Cisco and Ebert also gave a positive review. I haven't found that review on YouTube yet, the Cisco and Ebert review, but I believe that, as I remember, I believe they gave it a positive review. Those of you who never saw the movie Back to School, so it's Rodney Dangerfield as a self-made billionaire who runs a successful clothing store chain, the tall fat chain, and he never went to college. He skipped college. He barely made it through high school, and he made himself into a self-made millionaire. And his son, I forgot to play his son in that film, but he was bombing out in school. He was playing overseas, and he decided to drop out after his first semester in college because he felt he was not making out. And his father says, and Rodney Dangerfield says, gave him the same piece of advice that Rodney's own father gave him. And no matter how rich and successful a man is, if without an education, he's nothing. So where do you stick it out? And his son says, "Oh, it's easy for you to say. You don't have to do any of it." He said, "Okay, I do it with you." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm going to college too." He said, "I'm going to college with you." That's something that was nuts. So he had to literally buy his way into college because there's no way, because he doesn't have a diploma. There's no proof of his diploma, or that there's no proof that Rodney Dangerfield even graduated from his character. He graduated from college, not college, in high school. There's no transcripts or SAT scores, so he paid enough money to donate for a new business school, or the business school building. So the dean of the business is like a British snob, and he of course doesn't like Rodney because he feels like he's buying his way through everything, and so he acts like a jerk to Rodney. Of course, a very similar story was happened with the son as well. I'm going to get in a little bit ahead of myself. So of course, when Rodney decides to go to register for his classes for the semester, the whole play, and this is, to me, the best scene, the funniest scene in the whole film, when he sees how crowded the registration room is. It's like wall to wall people. So I got an idea. So he gets like one of those cardboard signs that they use for, or the school used, to if you want to sign up for history classes or business classes or science classes, whatever, they have science here, or history here, on this big cardboard science. So Ronnie takes one of his cardboard science and writes Bruce Springsteen on it. But he has a limo driver, played by Burt Young from the Rocky films, goes out to the limo, holds the sign up, says Bruce Springsteen. All the kids goes running out of the registration room as a distraction so that Ronnie and his son and his friends could register for classes without they get sign up all the classes they want because all the kids ran out. So to me it was a funny scene because I had to register for college. But it wasn't as bad as that was, but it was long enough for me to wait. I also remember my father one time when he registered for school and we had to go from building to building to building, so it was also a pain. So when I saw that scene, it was funny. Then of course you had, the scene that happened before it was also funny. It also had a little nudity in this film, which of course is going to get anybody excited. Because Rodney thought that his son was in the fraternity, which he lied about. And also lied about being on the diving team. He was a towel boy in that. So Rodney saw this building, this house with Greek letters on it. So I think, oh, this must be the fraternity that Jason's, and that's the name of his son in the film. So he goes in there and he catches the girl in the shower, and you can see the girl naked in the shower. So of course that's the only real nudity scene in the whole film. And of course in that movie he gets attracted, or Rodney gets attracted to his English teacher. It was played by Sally Kellerman. And of course, if you don't know who Sally Kellerman is, she was the original Hot Lips in the original film version of MASH before the television show. So she plays the English teacher with that sexy voice of hers, reading a poem. But Rodney stands up in class and goes, "Yes, yes," and the whole class busts out laughing. And of course, he gets instantly attracted to the English teacher, and no one could blame him. And at the same time, the other subplot was the son was attracted to this other girl in the school, played by Terry. For you Star Trek Deep Space Nine fans, Terry Farrell plays the girl that Rodney's son was attracted to. So if any of you are fans of the television show Star Trek Deep Space Nine, you see the actress who played Josiah Dax, Terry Farrell, was in it. And if you think that she was hot on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, you see her for like 8 years, 7 or 8 years younger in this film. I mean, she was hot. She was hot in this film. I think she was more beautiful in this film than she was in Star Trek. But that's not me. But so he had that attraction there, and Billy Zabala, who was in the original Cranky movie, played the snob or the original boyfriend of the Terry Farrell character. Oh, how can you like Millen? That was the last name. There was also a joke in the film that said that Ronnie's last name in the film was Millen. His name was Thornton Millen. He shortened it to Millen only in the film. And how in the world can you go through life with last name of Millen? I don't know. You know how many jokes you can make with that. So Billy Zabala says, how can you like Millen? He's a jerk, he's a dweeb, playing him down. And the only way he's getting through life is because his father's paying him off, paying people off. So his son can be a success. And of course, that's what Billy Zabala's character does. He puts that seed in his son's head, because he was wanting to trying out for the diving team, didn't make it because and the coach was played by M. Walsh, and he says, "Oh, when your son tried out last semester, he wasn't. I didn't think he was that good. That's why they didn't put him on the team." And he said, "Oh yeah, what's this?" So this is training 2.5 dive, 2.5 2.5 times he goes around and he dives to the water and says, "Oh, try that dive." So of course he does, and the coach liked that, so he put him on the team. Legitimately put him on the team. Ryan did not pay him a dime. And of course, Ronnie was talking to the coach and says, "Oh, I used to go from Jersey." And said, "How did you learn how do you teach your son how to dive? Who taught him?" And I said, "I taught him." So really? He said, "Yeah, I used to be in the diving horse in Atlantic City when it still appeared." And I said, "Oh really?" "Yes, I grew up in Jersey. There was a guy who did this dive for the Triple Lindy." "Who did that?" Ronnie says, "I did it." Oh really?" And then we got to talking, a friendly conversation, because we were both practically the carriers were practically one of the same age, so they could relate a little bit. But Ronnie never paid him off. And then Bernie Zapata says, "Oh, the only reason you're on the team is because your father paid off the coach." And then that was before his first diving meet. Jason saw, his dad, Ronnie, talking to the coach, and he gets mad and he purposely loves his dive. And then of course they had a big party scene. Usually a lot of these movies in the 80s have a big party scene. And they did have the band singing Oingo Boingo, I believe, was actually performed in this party. And of course they had Jason got mad, so he paid him off. So they didn't pay him off. Well, he's lying. And, the kid was lying. And you believed this Chad that was Zabata's name, his character's name on the movie. He said, "You believed him over me? Get out of here." So of course his son told him, said, "Look, I want to make it on my own without you paying people off. I'm tired of it." And he told him up pretty harshly. And then of course the next day, Brent Young, who was actually the chauffeur and knew Rodney Dangerfield's character for like 30 years, and says, "Look, I know your pop for 30 years. He's like me. He's nice and he's tough. Let me show you what I mean. My two boys. One of them I put through college. The other one I put through a wall. And that's what I mean by nice and tough. Of course, the main part of all these, jokes and all these two separate and very similar storylines. And Rodney did pay off a lot of people to do his term papers for all of his classes. And of course, he had a funny bit with Sam Kinison, who was a fellow comedian who since passed away in a car accident. He played his crazy history teacher. And of course, he goes, "Say it!" Trying talking about the Korean War. And of course, he had on this bit with this snobby business professor, as I mentioned earlier. So he's always trying to one up him all the time. One time he had a secretary taking notes. It was a pretty funny scene. And of course, he had all these other scenes trying to one up each other all the time. And of course, the business professor felt that Rodney's work was not his own. It was plagiarizing. Because he had professional accountants do his own homework, do his term papers. So he said, "Look, I want you, Rodney, or Mr. Mellon, I want you to take an oral examination in all your courses." So they had a very funny sequence where Rodney is studying all of his, tests for all of his finals for the final exams. And the first one up was, of course, the history professor, because he was the one who scored this whole thing anyway. And of course, it was pretty funny. He comes out in a big hall. It looks like it's pretty similar to the end dance sequence in the movie Flashdance, which of course I haven't done a video on. So he comes out in this big hall there. The business professor says, "I only have one question for Mr. Mellon." So Ronnie says, "Okay, great. I'm going to get lucky if just one question, right?" And the professor says, but in 27 parts. And while he's playing around the pretzel, he goes, "I like to break him in 27 parts." and of course, they got a huge laugh. And of course, he gets to that's part of his stupid question. And he says, and Rodney pauses. And it says, "Mr." And of course, the dean was played by oh shoot, I forgot the guy's name. I know, Ned Beatty. Ned Beatty, Beatty, played the dean. He says, "Mr. Mellon, come on, Mr. Mellon." And of course, Sam Kinison character says, "Hey, man's been putting out a lot of pressure by us. Let's take it easy on him." And of course, he yells out, "Say it! Say it!" And of course, he says the answer. He said, 4? No? Like that. And of course, what he said was funny. And of course, they got that right. And of course, Sally Kelman came out next. And of course, as she was coming pull the chair over and ask finally what questions she was asking. And Ryan says, "Hold it, I can't take it no more." And so I feel like you just gave birth to an accountant. You see, you haven't lost any of the lines from this movie because I've seen it so many times. And of course, Sally Kelman's character asks him to recite the film or the poem, "Do not go gentle in that good night," and he recites the poem. And of course, the question was, "What does the poem mean?" And Sally Kelman says to him, "What?" Big laugh. And so now it was encouraged to pass. And says, "Okay, who's next?" And that's when they cut off the exam. The club went to the old professors and see how well he does right then and there. And then they went to the meet, the diving meet, and of course one of the but it's a pilot character, and I believe you could tell it kind of like faked an injury because he didn't do so well on his first dive, and then Jason goes and he makes his dive. He almost got a perfect score. He got like 9.5 out of 10, and he realizes the police officer realizes that he's not as good as that Jesus is as good as he is. He got mad that he got bad scores, so he faked an injury. And of course, this one, Rodney Dangerfield was fit with this test. So when the coach says, "Come on, can you soon on?" But he says, "Another big line is this, with the shape I'm in, can you donate my body to science fiction?" But if the coach goes to where you put the triple Indy, the goes put the suit on, does the triple Indy. He actually does do the triple Indy, and of course, everything you can tell it was like a stunt man doing it. But he does do the so-called triple Indy jump or dive, I should say. It's not a jump, it's a dive. And of course, that he gets a perfect 10 a 30 from the judges. And of course, they went the diving meet. Of course, that's when Sally Kelman's character gets all the grades and says, "Oh, you passed. You get all D's." Wow, a D. You get all D's and an A. "Oh, who gave me the A?" He said, "I did." Of course, the very last scene was him giving an address to graduating class. It was the only first time a freshman giving this address, addressing the keynote address to the graduating class. It tells them, "Don't go out into the world. Stay home. Go back with your go live back with your parents, and then worry about it." That was pretty much the last line of the movie. He does like almost like a comedy routine almost, in a speech, and that's how the movie ends in the graduation. Even though technically he didn't really graduate yet because he was only a freshman, finishing his freshman year. But the movie is still, even though it's almost a 30-year-old movie now, to a 28-year-old movie, it's only like about an hour and 35-minute film. But it's still a very good film, very funny film. Still has a lot of funny bits in it, even though Rodney since passed away. But like I said, I still feel this is the best Rodney Dangerfield movie. I think a lot of other critics, I don't know how many YouTube movie critics reviewed this film, but I think a lot of the people who can agree this is the best Rodney Dangerfield movie. I think maybe possibly it's just Caddyshack, maybe, or maybe Easy Money. Who knows? I never really saw the full Easy Money film, but I still like Back to School because it's funny. And one note when you have a good comedy, if it lasts, is if you can watch it all these years later and you watch the film and it's still funny. That's how you know the film was very good. If all these years later, when you watch the movie today and you laugh till it hurts, that is when you know that's a good comedy. And even though that a lot of the young kids might be too crude, some of the jokes with some of the younger kids, especially some of the sex jokes that Rodney Dangerfield tells us film. Especially the nudity scene, the scenes with girls wearing skimpy bikinis in the party scene, the dorm. But there's also one particular instance where Robert Downey Jr. does like a sex act, in the film, which you will understand why I got PG. We're lucky he didn't get an R. That's for that one particular scene. It's a cool scene, but a cool moment in the film. I mean, other than the Rodney Dangerfield one-liners throughout the film, but in terms of the film, it's still funny, and it's still, like I said, it still works today. So that's my review of the film Back to School. Please click and rate the video. Please feel free to comment on. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward the video onto your Facebook pages to get more viewership of my videos. Sometimes I still get annoyed when I see some of the videos that I posted like months ago, almost a year ago, they still only have like not even 10 views. I don't know what the hell is wrong. I mean, come on, people. They have videos that are over 150 views, and some of the videos don't even have 5 views. So I don't know what the hell. Is wrong. So thank you for watching my videos. Catch you next time.